Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
And now, the A-Plus League.
What's happening, guys? Welcome into the A-Plus League. And we've got Matt Libinati, the face of Marlboro Cigarettes over here.
I thought you were going to say Cincinnati Nation, but I guess that'll work too. Thanks.
That works. Yeah. And then we have Nick Cometa, the corrupt commish, in here as well. Say hi, Nick.
What's going on, guys? Also, head of Falcon Nation. Rise up, guys.
And I'm Matty Maitai, head of Charger Nation. We all like terrible teams.
Tortured fan bases.
That's the best part about this. Today we're going to kick off our inaugural show. We're going to kind of do a few different things here. We're going to go over, give a little recap of the league, jump into some fantasy football news, a little bit of injuries, a little bit of waiver wire, and then we're going to hop over and visit some of the NFL lines and get a quick look at those.
For entertainment purposes only.
Exactly, for entertainment purposes only. We definitely do not gamble. Welcome, guys. Excited?
Good morning.
Good morning.
First episode's going to be good. All right. We're going to kick this off with the recap of the A-Plus League. Fastest 3 minutes. First, we have the Commish versus Free Boltman. Free Boltman made a splash trade for Josh Allen this week in hopes of dominating the Jets, but ended up being outscored by the number 1 overall pick, Big Dick Burrow. Cuckoo could choose 2 points for the Falcons with just one of many single-digit scores for Bill's squad this week that led to his demise. The Commish, the corrupt Commish, was sweating it out against Free Boltman early in the day until Tyler Pop Lockett Drop It went off for 15 catches, 200 yards, and 3 touchdowns en route to 48.5 points, leading the Commish to the second highest score of the week and propelling him to third place in the standings. Matty Maitais versus Rick Canales. Rick got a masterful performance by Russell Wilson in the late-night overtime game against the Cardinals. Unfortunately, Alvin Kamara was the only other player on his team to give a strong performance. Although Austin Hooper's appendix did throw up a strong fight as he was in the hospital for the game, and Rick didn't get the memo. Matty Maitais watched as Aaron Rodgers peppered Devontae Adams with 16 targets for 13 catches, 196 yards, 2 touchdowns, helping Matty Maitais to the highest point total of the week at 188 points, vaulting him to the number 1 ranking for the first time this year. Next, we have Mike Fiore against Big Bad Baldner. Fiore struggled to get 100 points for the second consecutive week with 0-point contribution from Jamison Crowder, who was ruled out prior to kickoff. Bold strategy, Cotton. Fiore loses Odell for the year on the first drive of the game, and Cam Newton got benched for Stidham in the second half. Bad outlook for my kicker is Gay. Actually, he's prettier than you think. The San Diego Superchargers, just kidding, the LA Chargers, and Justin Herbert's 39 points combined with a massive 25-point performance by A.J. Brown led Big Bad Baldner to the victory. Looks like losing Josh Allen didn't hurt this team. Next, we have Savannah's best team versus Mud Dogs. Savannah's best team started off hot with Deshaun Watson throwing for over 300 yards and 2 touchdowns against Green Bay, but sadly the rest of her stars were caught napping this week as she failed to crack 100 points. The number 1 seed will drop all the way down to 4 with this loss. Coach Danny and the South Central Louisiana State football squad made a waterboy-level move, leaving Melvin Gordon on the bench in favor of Mike Williams in his 1 catch. But it didn't seem to matter. James Robinson and Antonio Gibson ran wild this week, combining for 265 total yards and 3 touchdowns, leading Danny to victory. That's 3 in a row for Danny, and he's back in the playoff hunt at 4-3. And finally, the primetime matchup of the week, Stripey Watsits versus Paul's Pleasant team. The primetime matchup of the week, Paul, with his 0-6 record, desperately needing a win heading into this matchup, projected to lose by 25 points. But like a Buccaneer in the night, he stormed ahead with his fearless leader, the GOAT, Tom Brady, and his 369 passing yards, 4 passing touchdowns, and 1 rushing touchdown, leading the entire matchup with 37 points. But alas, it wasn't enough to earn him his first victory of the year as the Libs pulled off the closest call of the year, squeaking out a win versus Paul on the backs of Aaron Darnold and the Rams defense on Monday Night Football. The combination of the Rams defense and strong wide receiver play from McLaurin, Galladay, and Higgins helped Libs dodge an embarrassing loss.
Oh, thank God.
Woo! That's the recap.
Well done.
Nice shot, man.
Yeah, wild one. I can't believe you squeaked that out.
Oh my god, I was sweating it.
I should change the defensive stand.
Change the settings again.
Yeah, it definitely needs to be like how much are you squeaking out by?
Yeah, he won like 5.
By 4? I saw it being like 1 point. Oh, I like that.
It was very close, and I was beginning of the second half. I was starting to get excited. I was like, "Oh my god, I might actually win!" And I'm like, "No, they're going to score a garbage time touchdown, and it's going to drop them 3 points, and I'm going to lose." And that never happened.
It was the defensive touchdown for Chicago. I didn't see the end of that.
Yeah, so they didn't get the points against. Only 4 points against. It's crazy. Wouldn't have mattered though. He would have lost 3 more points, and it would have taken him down to 15.5. They doubled the projection. I mean, that's huge, especially from a defense. So
I would take it.
Few injury notes, notable injuries that came up during Week 7. Odell Beckham, torn ACL, out for the year. That's a tough one. What do you guys think about that? Who's the next man up in that Cleveland offense?
I mean, they looked still competent this past weekend, but keep in mind that they were playing my Bengals defense. So we'll see how well they do against others. But Donovan Peoples-Jones, I don't imagine is going to be some stud. Higgins would be the next guy up, I think, fantasy-wise, that makes any sort of sense. But no, I don't know. Who is there? Brian also looked good, their backup tight end.
Yeah.
It's going to be a bad committee thing.
Oh, yeah. And I think that tight end room is going to be a mess because they have Hooper, who's out right now for at least 1 or 2 games. And then after he comes back from the appendicitis, Harrison Bryant looked great. And David Njoku still just living there.
Yep.
Hilarious. Another injury note. Notice Kenyon Drake got carted off the field Sunday Night Football. The report was he is going to be out multiple weeks, and they're on their bye. But after that, I think Chase Edmonds is going to be a big play.
You know, Edmonds has actually held some sort of he's been viable as a flex option standalone value while Drake was even playing, but now he's going to be vaulted into that RB2. I haven't figured out exactly where he'd fall, but he's going to be valuable for however long Drake is out.
Well, it's funny how they may even use him because like they didn't even use Drake as like a guy that catches the ball and does it, but then Edmonds does all that.
Yep.
So is he just going to be consistently doing that, or are they going to try to work him in? I don't know. I like him though. I'm going to ask Bell for a trade.
Well, speaking of trades, I mean, let's just jump right into that trade. Since Kenyon Drake was a key piece to it.
Yeah, they're not allowed to make any more trades.
Well, so to recap the trade,
He actually got the.
to recap the trade, it was Josh Allen, Brandon Cooks, and Joshua Kelly for Kenyon Drake, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Mike Evans. And I mean, I think we all had the same reaction when we first saw this. We were like, Bill, what the hell are you doing? But I mean, Kenyon Drake goes down. Mike Evans has 2 catches for 30 yards, and Edwards-Helaire only had 8 rushes with Le'Veon Bell there.
And this was before AB was even rumored to be signing with the Bucs, so that only hurts Evans. I mean, I still think Evans is going to be fine, and this was a bad game. I think he'll be viable moving forward, but you're right. I mean, it's impossible to say who won off the bat, and maybe Bill is some sort of super genius behind the scenes, but I doubt that.
One would think he's a super genius, but then he traded me Tyler Lockett for David Montgomery, which Lockett had 49 points
Against Bill.
But he really needed to win this week.
Yeah, I mean, last week it didn't really help him either, so.
But, I mean.
TBD, maybe he's 1 for 2, maybe he's 0 for 2, we don't really know.
Yeah, and unfortunately.
Maybe he's 2 for 2 because maybe Lockett only has 1 game and.
We'll see. I know last year I was, I think, 0-4 to start the season, and I made it all the way to the semi. So 1-6, Bill's really not out of it. He's 3 games back of Danny and of you in 5th and 6th place here. So there's a chance he can make it back, but he needs to start winning games. And maybe Josh Allen turns it around, but he did not look good against the Jets.
He did say that he needs to go 6-1 after he faced me. So he lost to me. So he doesn't say he needs to go 6-0 to make a chance. I mean, still.
So you're saying there's a chance?
So I mean, he plays Paulie again. I mean, now Fiore usually tails off and stops playing at the end of the year.
That doesn't sound like him.
Ballna, Then he plays you, Ballner.
One team I want to look at is Danny's team. So Danny's won 3 in a row, which has put him right back kind of in the swing of things. And I mean, I think he's got a nice little squad here. It's hard to tell because some guys are question marks, but he's got the Mahomes-Hill combo. Diggs has been great. He has James Robinson, Damian Harris, Melvin Gordon, Gibson, a running back, just a decent little crew. And he just swiped up Antonio Brown, which who knows? He could be a stud. So I think Danny's got a team that can at least fight, but he needs everything clicking.
I remember thinking post-draft that he was really, really hurting at running backs, and I grabbed Antonio Gibson in a keeper league that I'm happy about. But, start of the year, you say, oh, yeah, my running backs are James Robinson, Antonio Gibson, and Melvin Gordon. You're getting laughed out of the room. But it looks viable, and the rest of his team, it's definitely a boom-bust squad, but, sometimes that's needed, and those are what gets you wins, putting up 180 points, especially if you're going up against a dominant team such as Matty Mai Tai.
Matty Mai Tai, first place, leader in points. Watch out. Another injury to bring up here. Chris Carson reported going to be week to week here. They're playing San Fran next week. What do you guys think about Carlos Hyde?
I don't know if Carlos Hyde's the guy to own. They've already been working in their 4-string running back even when Carson was there in DJ Dallas, a rookie out of University of Miami. Initial reports were that it was going to be a couple of weeks, week to week. They're coming out now saying that he might only miss one game, that this guy, Carson plays through injuries. He's a tough guy, blah, blah, blah. But I don't know if I want anything to do with that running back situation while Carson's out, because it's going to be a 3-headed committee.
Seems like he's playing it down so he can pick him up. Is that me?
I wish I was that
smart. I know, right? That's the guy you didn't want to talk about.
Seattle, I go for people that have dominant offenses. Seattle puts up points like anyone else.
Seattle's going to have to put up points. Seattle is one of the most run-heavy teams in the league.
Okay.
Carlos Hyde got 15 carries after Carson was out.
They are not one of the most run-heavy teams in the league. Historically, they have been. This year, they are the most pass-heavy team in the league.
They are very pass-heavy, but there's still opportunities with a high-powered offense, like Nick said. You're going to be in the red zone.
Yeah.
He got a nice short little touchdown the other night. He got 18 touches. Just seems like a guy that, Chris Carson gets hurt so consistently that Carlos Hyde is nice to have. I don't know who the Chris Carson owner is in our league, but I think that's going to be one of my high waiver wire claims. Anyone else have some good waiver wire thoughts?
But like I was saying, it's Carlos Hyde's right behind him. Travis Homer's already been getting work, and then even DJ Dallas was already getting. So it's you can take a chance. And honestly, if I were to take one guy on the waiver wire, it's going to be Homer or DJ, because we know what Carlos Hyde is, and he is mediocre. Why not take the upside on a guy drafted last year or this year?
I get what you're saying, especially because his passing work is terrible. I would, watching Carlos Hyde try to catch a football is just, I'd rather watch Cam Newton try to catch a football. But honestly, the thing is, Carlos Hyde had 1,000 rushing yards last year for the Houston Texans, and the Houston Texans were not good last year. They were not a good offensive line. They really just relied on Deshaun Watson. He still managed 1,000 yards. So if you need a guy to plug and play, I think he's a good one. I think another one that's a little interesting too, maybe, is to explore the Jets' backfield. I know the Jets are not good, but Adam Gase, and I said this to Livs yesterday, Adam Gase, it does not matter if you were down 28 points in the game. He will run the football. He does not care.
Yeah, because he's a butthole, and he's a terrible coach.
He is a terrible coach, but terrible coaches can lead to good fantasy performance.
That's fair. Yeah, other running backs I was looking at where I don't think we mentioned the Jeff Wilson Jr. injury. That was gruesome and not fun. He's going to be out for at minimum 4 to 6 weeks, I think I saw. They've got Raheem Mostert coming back in a week or two. But if you need some guys for bye week fill-in, and it seems like Kyle Shanahan can literally, I think that maybe even Paulie could go out there and play running back and get 80 yards in a game. But JaMychal Hasty is a potential pickup, or Tevin Coleman until Mostert comes back. Because like I said, any running back will perform in that system.
I like that. And Coleman is going to be coming off the IR soon. And yeah, it seems like it's just next man up in that 49ers backfield. Each guy keeps coming up. Although let's talk to the commission over here. How about your boy Jerick McKinnon? How's he doing?
I mean, I picked him up in 2 leagues. I had him in this league, dropped him, then Fiore picked him up. I didn't understand why he didn't play. He has been putting up great stats this year when most of it was down. So at what point do you just turn away from a guy that's putting up points and just go away from him? I mean, he put up 11, 13, 15, 19 in the weeks that he was out, all with a touchdown.
Yeah. No, it was touchdown dependent, and I'm not sure why they thought that JaMychal Hasty and Jeff Wilson Jr. they clearly thought that going into the game that these were where they could take advantage of some sort of matchup, because McKinnon wasn't getting any work before the injuries and didn't get much after.
So I'm just reading up a little report here that Kyle Shanahan said that the plan all along was to kind of rest Jerick McKinnon and not give him too many touches this week because of how all the work he's had early in the season. I mean, you got to realize this guy's been out for the last 2 seasons with knee injuries.
Yeah.
So to give him a full season's workload right off the bat, it's tough. And it would have been nice to know this a little bit earlier, but seems like this backfield is similar to last year. They just like to rotate these guys in and out. Tevin Coleman last year had a game for 150 yards and 3 touchdowns. The next week he got 4 carries. It's a tough backfield to really navigate, but you can find some nice.
Yeah, I didn't want anything to do with the Rams backfield at the beginning of this year for fantasy purposes, and anyone who grabbed Malcolm Brown that's been running away with, or whether it's Darrell Henderson, seems like Cam Akers is the odd man out, but no, and I'm sorry, I think I cut you off a little bit earlier when because I was disgusted about you bringing up the Jets and Adam Gase running backs. But who were you talking about, Frank Gore or LaMichael Pirine, or what are you thinking here?
So I actually added both on the Sunday slate. I'm in a league that doesn't have a waiver wire system, so I can just add them back and forth. But I liked what I saw out of Pirine. I mean, Frank Gore got the touches early, and he was running pretty hard. But they were using Pirine in the passing down situations, and he was actually getting good chunks on carries. They just fell down early, and Sam Darnold's running back there like seeing ghosts and just hucking it up to random receivers. Almost got Brashard Perriman killed on a deep ball. I mean, the offense is ugly, but if you need a bye week fill-in or even just a nice little lottery ticket on the bench, I think LaMichael Pirine could be a pretty good option.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, I didn't have much else for running backs, honestly. I'll list off a couple of names in case they're available in your league, but whether it's Damian Harris, Wayne Gallman, Gus Edwards, especially with Ingram, we don't know how long Mark Ingram's going to be out. I imagine he might miss one more week. They're coming off their bye. But Gus Edwards, if either Dobbins or Ingram goes down, will definitely be a viable option with that Ravens offense. In receivers, it looks like Deebo Samuel's going to miss some time for San Fran. So if Brandon Ayuk, as I like to call him, is still available in your league, go grab him.
Yeah.
He had a nice game, 6 catches, 115 yards against the Pats, and that was with Deebo Samuel in for half the game.
Yep.
And then that game was out of hand too. They were up 27 points.
Yeah.
They started running the ball. So I was worried about him, but he might be a good pickup.
I think we already kind of touched on the Browns a little bit, but I don't know what to think of Donovan Peoples-Jones and Rashard Higgins. But if you want to take a flyer on one of them, it's Landry's the only receiver left there right now other than those two. So have fun with that one.
Yeah, one guy I like him. Many teams they dropped him was Henry Ruggs. I think he's got a lot of favorable matchups coming up. Big deep ball threat. They've been airing it out with Card in that team. A lot of people dropped him once he got injured after high hopes after a first round pick. But I kind of I love him. I want him. He's my number one waiver claim. I'll say it. I'll say it to you both.
He's an exciting player. I mean, anytime a guy can take the top off a defense and go for 70 yards for a touchdown, I mean that's exciting.
And it's not like they're not doing it. They're doing it every game. They're doing it multiple times. They're not afraid to go out deep to this guy. It's impossible to cover him one-on-one. Derek Carr's throwing the ball well this year. I think it's a good pickup now that he's healthy.
And the Raiders defense loves to give up points, so they're always going to be throwing the ball late in games. Looking at their schedule now, they've got a pretty cake schedule when it comes to some of these pass defenses.
Yeah, like the Chargers.
Chargers twice. Trust me, the deep balls on them. I saw too many from Gardner Minshew this week. I can tell you that Ruggs will have some good games against us. But he's got Atlanta in here, the New York Jets in here, Denver's secondary's banged up. Cleveland couldn't stop Joe Burrow. I mean, it's a good little line for the Raiders here if you want to go attack Henry Ruggs or even Hunter Renfrew.
Yeah, no, and I mean, I appreciate the feedback, Nick, that it's your first waiver claim because I have a higher waiver priority than you. So
I know. I just wanted to say that because I'm better than you in fantasy.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, and I did mention before we started recording here that there was somebody I wasn't going to mention, but screw it. If Nick's going to be honest with this shit, so will I. Alan Lazard is a nice little pickup right now if you have an open IR slot in your league. He's started work on rehab. The Packers need a number 2 wide receiver, and MVS is not doing it even with him out, with Lazard out. So if you have an empty waiver IR slot, grab Alan Lazard, hold on to him for a week or two, and see what he does.
MVS was disgusting the other day. 0 catches. 0 catches.
He dropped everything.
It makes no sense when you go up for a matchup. Like, what is Houston doing where you can't even guard one guy? Double him the entire time.
Oh my God!
I don't mind because I have Adams in a couple leagues.
At what point do you just say like this guy is literally torturing our defense? It goes with what he did.
Put 3 guys on.
Lockett did against Arizona. How do you just let this guy just run over the defense
when he's their only option?
15 catches or something like that.
13 for 196 and 2.
Jeez.
In one of my other leagues, I ended up just starting Devontae Adams, Jamal Williams, and Robert Tonyan, and I was like, okay, well, I have to hope the Packers put up 40 points, and they didn't, but I still got a combined 63 points between the 3 guys, so I was not complaining.
Yeah, it's a 2-person offense, and it goes to what Aaron Rodgers does, their play calling, and to be like, we have 2 guys, we're going to beat you with 2 guys.
Yep.
And you guys can try it.
And even with Aaron Jones out, it's Jamal, like...
Yeah, they didn't even have Aaron Jones, and they still put up 40-something points.
Yeah. Well, I don't think they've reached 40, but still, they look
Look at the wide
dominant.
receiving. Devontae Adams, 13 catches. Jamal Williams, their second guy, the running back with 4. Tonyan with 2. And then you got Mercedes Lewis, another tight end, 1. Malik Taylor, 2. And Jay Sternberger with 1.
I know I was mad about that Sternberger touchdown too, but
so I mean, how do you if you double Devontae Adams, I think you have a game there in Houston. But
that would involve good coaching, and Romeo Crennel, I don't hate him as much as I hate Bill O'Brien, but they haven't proven to be good at coaching.
You think he wanted something from Bill Belichick, but
you were right. I was wrong. 35 points for the Green Bay Packers without Aaron Jones.
Still, they were dominant.
Yeah. So it was a big win. All right. I think that'll kind of wrap up our waiver wire section. I think it's time to move on to week 8 of the NFL. But first, let's talk about some of our fake outs.
Oh, he fakes to the left. No, he fakes to the right. He doesn't fake. He thinks about fake. He pretends to fake.
All right. So we're going to talk about some of the bad beats and some of the teams that really just we thought would dominate and really cover some of these NFL spreads and just faked us out. I'm going to lead off because I think my bad beat is one of the worst I've gotten this year. Cleveland Browns are dead to me. They are just dead to me. I could not believe it.
Is it just the kicker or the whole team?
It's kind of the whole team for even letting it get to that point, but it's mainly the kicker. I don't even know his name. I couldn't even tell you who the kicker is. But I had the Cleveland Browns at -3.5. They're trailing the Cincinnati Bengals with less than a minute left. They drive down the field and throw one of the best deep balls I've seen to Donovan Peoples-Jones. He toe taps in the end zone. They're up 3 points. All they've got to do, kick the extra point, and they're covering the spread. What happens? Bam! Wide left.
Well, it's Cody Parkey. He's the owner of the double doink.
Oh, my God. Oh, the worst primetime kicker of all time. So yeah, Cleveland's dead to me, and once we get into
the Chargers were almost dead to me with survivor pick and whatever entertainment purposes I had on them, they looked like they were going to throw up on themselves against the Jags there for a little bit. And you were confident as a Chargers fan before halftime. And I'm just sitting there like, Bird, how have you not learned this yet?
I should know better, but guess what? They did cover the spread. They did not let anyone down this week, winning by 10 points, and their spread was, I think, 7.5, 7 in some places.
Somebody say that's a good survivor pick, too, because I was sweating that one out, but ended up going on to another week on survivor, picking the Chargers.
Yeah, the Bills were scary for a second, too.
Always tough rooting for a 1-4 team against a 1-5 team, was it?
Yeah,
it's a tough one. I mean, it's a tough sled to say that my most confident pick is a 1-4 team, but Jacksonville proves me right again with that crazy kickoff return fumble that changed the game.
It's wild. It was a wild game. I almost had a heart attack during it, honestly. Any other bad beats, guys? Anything else?
I mean, I go back to the 5-0 Seattle Seahawks.
Oh, that was a group bet right there.
Game, coming off a bye. You always think like 3 points, 3.5, 4, whatever everyone had at, would be a easy cover, and they looked like they were going to cover easily in the beginning, but that defense for Seattle just continues to give up passing, rushing, anything you can want on that Seattle defense you can get. And Russell Wilson shows that he's a little bit human with a couple picks.
Yeah.
It was honestly putrid. That defense is just sickening to watch. And they lost Shaq Griffin early, which is one of their better DBs, but oh my God, we should have just bet the over. I don't even know what we were thinking about.
Well, once Seattle went up big, I just hedged with Cardinals plus 7.5, and so I ended up fine personally, but well, no, I hear you. It was very disappointing. That defense is bad.
And the worst part is you almost double dip. We almost won. That game went to overtime.
Yep.
And on a nice little screen pass, all Russell Wilson was trying to do was get in a field goal range, and DK Metcalf broke off a long 45, 50-yard touchdown, only to be called back by David Moore, my least favorite receiver on that team. And that would have covered our -3. It would have covered the plus 7.5.
Yep.
Instead, next play, Russell Wilson got blitzed, threw a pick. Arizona came down, kicked a field goal, and won the game. I guess Cardinals' money line might have been the play. Jeez.
True. One thing I would have liked to happen was Tyler Lockett to get some more points.
Yeah, he didn't put up an up for you. It was 49 points.
15 catches, 200 yards, 3 touchdowns. The 4th touchdown would have been a real nice icing on the cake. Would have brought me up into second pass ball in the points. I mean, would have been nice. I don't want to be greedy, but
yeah, you did.
Yeah, I did. I mean, beating someone with one person is definitely something that
it always feels nice.
Makes it a little easier on the not worrying about Monday night matchups between David Montgomery and Cooper Kupp versus Robert Woods on my end.
Okay, so let's jump into Week 8 spreads. Normally, what I think we're going to do is kind of predict what we think the spreads are going to be and then compare it to what the lines actually will be. Remember to always shop your lines. Let's start off with Nick. Since Nick's the only one that hasn't actually seen the lines today, you want to go through the games and kind of give us your predictions, and we'll.
So let's start off with these Falcons and Panthers in Carolina this time. I believe last time in Atlanta, Falcons it was a pick'em in Atlanta. I can't imagine this is going to be that big of a spread, even though I think it should be. I'm going to go Carolina -4 is what I think it's going to be. I think they should be more than a field goal. I think Carolina wins this easily again. But last time they played, no Julio Jones. Now he's back, looking good. Calvin Ridley's still there.
And I mean, everyone knows what Julio Jones can do for fantasy purposes, but just the attention he draws from a defense. I mean, you take that off Calvin Ridley, you put your number 2 corner on Calvin Ridley. Oh my God, that's going to be a nightmare. So I agree with Nick. My opening spread on this was actually 3.5, but the two lines I've seen so far are -2.5 and -3 for Carolina. So -2.5 is crazy. You could get Atlanta at plus 2.5. Carolina, I don't know. They scare me. McCaffrey's not coming back this week, so they're still going to rely on Mike Davis, who looked like the old Mike Davis this week. He did not have a good week at all again.
2.5 and 3. That's crazy.
Yeah, so that was the opening line there.
All right, I'll go next to the Patriots, who are probably going to lose 3 straight.
Oof. Hard to bet against Bill.
At Buffalo, I say.
Yeah.
I think this is, if this is anything but minus, if it's, I think it's -5 Buffalo. I know it's lower.
You're not far off. It's -4. I thought it'd be -3.5 because I feel like the books love New England, but even with Cam Newton looking as bad as he has the last 2 weeks.
The thing is that they haven't practiced in how long?
They had some practice struggles with the COVID.
I think if they do get a routine and a schedule and a game plan put together, it's tough to say Bill Belichick is going to
Loses 3 in a row.
I mean, Buffalo hasn't looked strong. I mean, they
barely squeaked out against the Jets.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't squeak. They had it, but it was a little bit of a struggle.
They were losing.
They didn't score a touchdown.
They didn't score a touchdown. We're losing till the third quarter.
Yeah,
They kicked 6 field goals. And no, Josh Allen looked back to his previous
it was a break and bend defense from the Jets, and that's what the Patriots do. They'll let you drive, but they keep you.
Yeah, but the Pats' defense has looked so bad. Like, I expected the offense to not be nearly as good with Cam versus Brady, blah, blah, blah. But that defense, I know they had a lot of opt-outs due to COVID, but I expected a little bit more out of this.
Wide receiver QB struggle, I thought Edelman would continue what he does, getting easy routes, but it is a connection with what Brady and him have. Same with what Welker and him have back then, where Welker left and kind of fell off the face of theirs besides one good year in Denver.
Well, but I mean, you said it's line's currently at 4. I saw it open at 4.5, which I'm not going to be surprised if we see it moving closer towards the Pats as the week goes on.
Yeah.
People are going to bet the Pats.
Let's keep an eye on that line. Next, we got Tennessee and Cincinnati.
Oh, God. This opened up. Oh, yeah,
I think it's -6.5 Tennessee. I think it would go to 7.5. I don't know. What are we thinking?
So I originally thought 6. I think Libs was the same.
My guess was 7.5 as a Bengals fan. And this opened up. I got it at -4.
4. Opened at 4. I didn't see that line.
What?
Yes.
Jeez, why are they giving Cincinnati so much credit?
It has already moved in both books to 5.5 and 6. So that early 4 line is long gone. But that's a good find right there. I mean, we'll see. I think Tennessee, after a close loss at Pittsburgh, might just take the doors to Cincinnati, and that 6 points might not even matter.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, Cincinnati.
They might be able to backdoor cover somehow, but I don't see how we keep it within a touchdown versus this offense.
Yeah, I mean, Cleveland put up as much as they wanted against Cincinnati. Tennessee's better. This is going to be a blowout offense. I think this shouldn't be a close game. I think -4 is a steal. Enjoy. Don't even double dip.
Yeah. All right, on to Cleveland and Vegas.
I'm going to go -2.5 for Cleveland. I think they get the small edge.
You were right. Yeah. So it opened at -2.5, -3. This game I'm going to attack heavily, I think, this week because I had it as a pick'em. I have no faith in this Cleveland team. They just lost Odell Beckham. The running game is still pretty good, but Vegas has been playing some tough teams. They just had to play Tampa Bay Bucks. I know they didn't look great, but that's Tom Brady going off with his full complement of weapons. The week before that, they beat Kansas City. They've been competitive in a lot of games. They beat the Saints this year. And honestly, I don't think Cleveland has much of a home field advantage. So I think Vegas getting 3 points is a very nice line.
Yeah, but I mean, they did. You're 100% right. They beat the Saints and looked good doing it, and then they lost to the Pats. And we're just finished talking about how bad the Pats are now. Obviously, they looked better 4 weeks ago. Whenever that happened, 3 weeks ago.
That was pre-COVID.
But like, which team's going to show up? And
it goes down. I mean, their run defense is where it comes down to. I think for Vegas. I mean, Cleveland can run the ball on anyone. Patriots ran all over them. Kansas City doesn't have that run defense. They have a good pass offense. So I don't know. Saints, they passed. They didn't run it too well either against them. So when they get teams to throw against them, they kind of hold them down and they have enough offense with how good Derek Carr is doing to kind of get the points to beat these tough teams. So,
all right, so let's go to the next game. I think we're going to dive a little bit more into these on Thursday's show when we're going to actually pick each game. We're going to start. It's a little late into the season, but we'll all start a pick 'em fight against each other here with the spreads, and we'll see who does better each week, and we'll keep a season long tally starting now. So we'll dive a little bit more into these games, but let's just quickly go through the lines. Indy, Detroit. Nick, what do you think?
yeah, -2.5 for Indy. I think Detroit actually wins this game. But Indy coming off a bye is always tough. I don't know.
So I had it at 2.5 too. The opening lines on the books 2.5 and 3. So it seems like we're in tune with the market, and yeah, Detroit could have a nice game here, but Indy's coming off a bye. Minnesota and Green Bay.
I got Green Bay -7.
I had it at -6.5. Libs.
I had it at 7.5.
Yeah, and
I saw it open at 7.
It's 7 all over the place. Minnesota's coming off a bye. Green Bay looks great, and if Devontae Adams is going to do what he did against Houston, then this Minnesota team might have a chance.
Let's hope so.
Jets and Kansas City.
Is there any spread you don't take? I think if it gets into the 20s, I always have it tough. I think it may creep into that. I have it at 17.5 when I thought.
That's what I had it at 17.5 to open. Libs.
I had guessed 14.5.
Yeah, in my mind that three possession game that's what the books are saying. Hey, no, they got to win by more than that to beat this god awful Jets team. It is at -20 on a book right now.
What? I saw it at 18.
It's at 18 on one. It's on 20 at the other.
Oh.
I think it's going to get to 21. In all honesty, I think it's going to get to 21. And I said to Libs, if it gets to 21, I don't know how I don't bet the Jets. Just even for a backdoor cover.
I still don't think I take that's why they're doing it, is to get people to take it. Clearly, that's their intention. They're trying to find that line, but
I actually put it at 17.5, and then I was like, well, how much do I want to take?
What I bet it at that point.
I mean, that seems like it's a Kansas City's going to run away with this one. I don't think the Jets have a fighting chance, but.
So let's visit that line on Thursday and see where that one gets. I think that's an early easy pick for Survivor if people want to burn Kansas City this early, but it's a no-brainer game right there. Next we have Rams and Miami. This game has no lines up for it yet, as the Rams just played last night. We might have more information on that later, but
I think it would have probably started off a little bit closer. I think it goes to 3.5 for LA once.
I had guessed 3.5
after they beat Chicago.
Yeah, so I originally had +2 here. I think it's actually +2 for Miami. But I think now you're right. After that game last night, this is probably going to be closer to 3.5, maybe even 4. You got Tua in his first game. It's off a bye.
Aaron Donald
going up
Tua.
Tua. Oh yeah, Jalen Ramsey. Good luck there. You're not going to get sacked or picked. Okay, next game, Pittsburgh-Baltimore. This is going to be one of the better games this week.
This is definitely the matchup of the week. I think Baltimore gets the home field -3 advantage.
And that's what I had too. I figured that would be your standard -3.
This one kind of surprised me. I guessed 2.5 because the Steelers are a game up on them. They're undefeated in the division. These guys know each other well. I hate them both equally. No, I hate the Steelers more. But I was guessing around 2.5. I saw it open at 4.5, which was a little surprising to me that the Ravens were that favored.
So it's currently at 4 on one book, 3.5 on the other. But either way, Baltimore is favored by more than a touchdown, pretty much across the board. And it's a tempting spot for Pittsburgh. Baltimore coming off a bye. They're such a well-coached team. It's tough to ignore that.
I think the people look at the Steelers haven't beat anyone by a large margin besides the Browns. That was a pretty decisive win. I thought they were if they ran away with the Tennessee game.
Yep. And they could have.
I thought it would have been Pittsburgh all the way is a pick'em game, but since they kind of let Tennessee back in, I think that's what favors Baltimore.
Yeah.
What I'm curious to see on this game is if Lamar can capitalize on the intermediate areas of the field, and instead of hitting singles or home runs, if he can hit a couple doubles. The Steelers lost Devin Bush, and the Steelers are on a historic pace for pressure rate. And the Ravens O-line has quietly been pretty bad, a lot well below league average, and nobody's talking about it. They're ranked 23rd in run blocking, 24th in pass blocking. Let's see what the Steelers, if they pin their ears back.
If you look at the Steelers schedule, I'm looking forward. I think this is a Baltimore win no matter what. There's no way the Steelers are going to go on the table. But if you look at the rest of the teams, they play the Cowboys, Bengals, Jags, Ravens again, Washington, Bills, Bengals, Colts, Browns. They may run the table after, besides the Ravens game.
So you're saying I should definitely lock in a Pittsburgh playoff guaranteed bet?
Yeah, you definitely should lock in a Pittsburgh guaranteed bet if you can even find it anywhere.
Yeah, probably not. It's probably minus 300 at this point.
I'd still take that in a heartbeat. If it's anything less than minus 500, you take it. It's free money.
All right, I'm with you there. So let's move past that. We can get more into that next on Thursday. We got the Chargers in Denver. Where do you think that line opens up?
Chargers minus 4.5. I'd have it.
All right, and that's surprising. Honestly, I thought Denver would be favored in this game. This is coming from a Chargers fan. I know, but I know Denver had a bad week against Kansas City last week. The week before, they got a win. They're getting healthier. They're home field, and they're one of the few teams that actually have a home field advantage.
Yes.
And they played there last week.
Especially without fans.
Yeah, so 2 weeks in a row they're there. They actually have fans.
No, but I'm saying without a full,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
still have an advantage even without
But
fans.
yeah, that mile high thing is a real thing. Chargers opened up at 2.5 to 3.5, laying the points. Laying 2.5 to 3.5.
Oh, I saw it open. When I first saw it open up, it was Broncos plus 1.5. Yeah.
It's Broncos plus 2.5 to 3.5 now.
Yeah.
So that line is definitely moving. I think it's getting closer to what Nick thinks.
Do you think this is we'll talk about this on Thursday, whatever, but I think the Chargers have a due for a bad game after
Herbert has looked great. I am getting worried that the shoe is about to drop and that he is going to have a bad game coming up soon. And honestly, I don't like taking the Chargers when they're a favorite. I was worried about it last week. I teased them down. That's how worried I was about it. I was like, oh, we can win, but I don't think they're going to cover. This one makes me a little worried too. I think they can maybe pull out a win, but to cover, I'm getting skeptical, especially if it jumps over that 3 mark. Next game, New Orleans and Chicago. No line for that because Chicago was playing last night. But what do we think that's at now after watching last night's game?
Saints should be. I had it initially at minus 4 for the Saints. I think it goes up more to probably 5.5.
I'd guess 4.5. I tend to agree. It's going to creep closer towards 6.
I put it at 2.5. I really thought New Orleans just hasn't looked great, even in this past week against Carolina. I mean, they won the game, but
Breeze looked better. That was the thing that would most sway the line, I think. Breeze actually looked confident.
Well, and I think the biggest thing that's going to sway the line too, to be honest, is what happens with Michael Thomas.
Oh yeah.
If Michael Thomas is playing, I think this line easily goes up over 4.5, maybe even up to 6. I know they're on the road, but with Michael Thomas, it's a completely different team, and they can just air the ball out a little bit more. So, next game, San Fran and Seattle. Got a nice little rivalry game.
And another good game, San Fran, riding hot. Off a big, huge win, massive win. I mean, that's a dominating win in New England. I thought this game would be a Seattle blowout. I'm a big fan of Seattle. I think they've always been a good team. I think they're probably the top team in the NFC. I think it's minus 3.5 Seattle.
Tampa Bay is clearly the top team in the NFC, but no, I mean they're 2 of the top 3 in the conference, and I had guessed that this one was going to open up around 4.5. It is Seahawks minus 4 from what I saw.
I had it at minus 2.5 last I looked. I saw minus 3 on both books.
Okay, no, I had looked Sunday night.
So Sunday night, early line, and that was probably the game was still going on even.
Yeah.
But minus 3, I think that Seattle defense is scary. So we'll see if they get their starting cornerback, and we'll see what's going on with the San Fran running back situation as well. Dallas, Philadelphia. Some strange reason, no line on that. I don't know why. I think they're worried about Andy Dalton figuring out the quarterback situation, but I don't know. Nick, what do you have there?
I hate to say it because Philadelphia looks so bad, and they still have no one. But Dallas is probably even
3
worse on
points.
that.
Oh my god.
I think this is minus 6.
I had a 5.5.
6.5 at Philly.
So I had it minus 4, but this is before I realized the Andy Dalton situation. So yes, I think if no Andy Dalton, you're on your 3rd string quarterback, you got to flirt with a touchdown here. I mean, this is like 6.5 territory because Dallas has no defense, no quarterback. It's literally Zeke fending for himself with a mediocre offensive line.
I think this is they still have great weapons and wide receiver, but if you have no one to throw the ball there, and the Philadelphia defense is pretty good at home.
Yeah.
I'm Zeke. I'm faking an injury at this point.
Yeah, right?
This is brutal.
Yeah. All right. Wrap it up. We get the last game, Monday Night Football. Tampa Tom against the New York Giants.
Probably goes more. I have it at -7. I think it probably goes more to 7.5.
I had it at 7.5.
I had guessed 9.5.
It is 10.5 on a book.
That's-
It's 12 on the other. It is a lot of points for the Giants. The Giants haven't looked good at all.
And Tampa's been dominant the past couple of weeks.
But a lot of
How did they
points
lose
on
to
the road.
Bears? Forgot about that.
Yeah,
Also, the Bears didn't look good against the Saints.
they've played pretty good defense this year, but I mean Daniel Jones. I mean the run of the year really explains it all. They keep falling over themselves.
It looked like DK Metcalf was chasing him down or something.
Seriously,
But he just tripped on his side.
That's a lot of points.
it is a lot of points. So
Where were they this week?
the Giants,
Tampa was in LA.
Tampa was against the Raiders.
Vegas.
Giants
At
had a
Vegas.
Thursday night game. So the Giants do get a long rest here. They're going to get about 10, 11 days because they played Thursday, now they're playing Monday. So they're going to get a lot of rest. They're going to get a lot of time to prep. But I don't think it's going to really matter.
Exactly. That's the issue.
Sprinkle a tease in there if you ever want to bet this
Yeah,
game.
that's true. Yeah, get them up into the 18 territory.
If it's too many points for Tampa to cover.
Okay, and that wraps up the Week 8 first look on the spreads. Normally, if we're filming this on a Monday, I would say that we'd have a nice little Monday night save me prop from Nick Cometa to help you bail you out of any of your bad losses. But alas, that game has already happened, so we'll have to save that for next week. And yeah, anything else, guys?
That's all I got.
That's all I got.
Yeah, I think it was a good first show. I appreciate it if you've lasted this long. I know we tend to ramble a little bit, but
No.
I think we've got some interesting lines here that we can revisit Thursday. Also on Thursday, we're going to talk about survivor picks. We'll brush up on any fantasy news, any injury reports. We'll see how the waiver wires went in the A+ league, and yeah.
I'm getting Henry Ruggs, so that's cool.
Yes.
Well, I thought it was Alan Lazard.
Yeah, that's not cool.
All right, guys. Thanks for coming in today. We will get back to you on Thursday. Thanks for listening.